So this is the second part of the tutorial. So I'm going to be focusing on how to cut a wide leg palazzo. So the same thing, like I said, you need 3 yards to do the waistcoat and the palazzo and the baggy palazzo. So first thing first, your fabric has to be on fold, and you'll be folding it using the biggest part of your body, which is the hip. Since it's going to be like a baggy big palazzo or wide leg palazzo, you need to add 7 or 5 inches to that. Depends on how big you want it to be. So in this my case, I divided the hip, which is 43, divided by 4. Then I added 5 inches to it. I added 5 inches into it. That's what I used to fold this. You can see is on fold. So I added 5 inches to that. That's what I used to fold this fabric, because I want the down to be very big and the hip also, the hip side to be big. So first thing first, I'm going to be taking my vertical lines and my horizontal lines. So this is your horizontal line. I'm just going to mark it like so. Then my vertical line, I'm going to take my vertical line like so. This should just be like a guide to where I'm taking the measurements. So after doing that, next is to start taking my vertical lines, which is from the shoulder to the hip point, which is 8 inches, from the shoulder to the crotch depth, which is what I'm dividing my hip divided by 4. If you want it to be high waist trouser, you're going to divide your hip divided by 4 and add 1.5 inches, so it will go to the waist point. But if you want it to be low waist, which you want it to sit on your waist, you divide your hip divided by 4. There's no need to add any allowance. You don't add anything to it, just measure it straight. That's what I did in this video. I divided the hip by 4. I didn't add any allowance. So this is my point. The hip is 43 divided by 4. I just mark it like so. Then I'm going to roll it straight down. I'll label it as my crotch point. So this is my crotch point and this is my waist point. I'm just going to mark like so. So I've gotten my crotch point and the waist point and the hip point. So I'm just going to take my shoulder to the knee, which is the next vertical line I'm going to take, which is 19. So I'm just going to place it on the points like so, which is the waist point, and I'll take it straight down and mark my 19. I'll be doing it on the other side so I can get like a straight line. So I'm just going to mark it like so, just as you can see me doing. So next is for me to take my full length. So in this case, I'm still going to add waistband to it. So I didn't remove anything. So from the waist straight to the waist, to the length of this palazzo trouser is 39. I'm still going to mark it like so. If there is excess, I'm going to fold it as the folding allowance or the hemming allowance. So I didn't remove any, I didn't minus any figure, but I'm going to add a 2 inches waistband to this. If there is excess, I'll fold it at this end point. I think it's better to do this than to have shortage, because sometimes when you minus, you end up getting shortage and the customer may be complaining about the length. So that's the reason why I don't minus when I'm cutting my trouser. Any excess, I'll fold it at the down or the end point. So now it's for us to take our measurement, which is the hip measurement. So because this is going to be, the back is going to have elastic, while the front is going to be, it won't be elastic. So because of that, I'm still going to divide my hip divided by 4. Then I added 5 inches allowance to it. Remember I told you this is a baggy joggers. So if you want the hip points to be shaped but the down part to be flay or to be very wide, I think I have a video on that. I'm going to leave it in the description box. In this case, the hip and the end point all through is going to be very, very wide. So that's why I added 5 inches to it. So if you don't want it to be too big, you can add 3 inches, which will be okay. So it's going to be elastic. So that's why you're under your waist point, you divide your hip by 4, then you add your 5 inches sewing allowance. Still, because you're adding elastic to it. So after getting that point, I'm going to mark like so. This is the crotch extension. I use 2.5 inches. So if you want to get your accurate figure, you divide that same figure you get for your hip, you divide that by 4. Whatever you get, just use it as your hip extension. So I'm not going to mark it straight down. So that's just the basic thing about this trouser. I can see there's not much work at that point. That's the crotch point. You extend it after taking your hip divided by 4 and add 5 inches, so 5 allowance to it, 5 inches allowance to it. You mark it straight down, then you extend, you do your crotch extension by 2.5 inches and just roll it straight down to the end point. That's all for this trouser. I can see there's no much work. Then at the waist point, you just go down by ½ inch to have like your slants, your waist slants. So there's not much work here. Once you get your crotch depth, your crotch extension, just mark it straight down like so. You are done. There's not much work here. So this is for the shoulder and the waist slants. At that waist point, I'm going to go down by 1 inches. Then I'll connect it to the other side of the waist. I'm just going to mark it like so. Then I'll pay it back at the back by 1 inches. So I'm just going to cut. You can see there's not much work. Once you get your crotch depth, your hip line, and your crotch extension, you are done. And so to cut this end point, I'm just going to fold it like so. Use my, I'm doing this so that there won't be like shortage when you are joining the back and the front together. So you have to fold it by 1 inches before you cut. By doing this, you won't have shortage when you are joining the back and the front together. So I'm just going to cut like so, and now it's for us to cut the back. So you can see we are done. There's no much work here for the palazzo, the baggy palazzo. The most important thing is to get your crotch depth, your crotch extension, and your waist point. So that's all. So I'm folding the back like so. So now it's for us to cut the back. I'll fold the same way I fold the front. The only difference is that the back is going to be bigger, it's going to be wider because of the extra allowance you add at the crotch area, the waist area, and at the hem area. So at the crotch extension area, I'm still going to be using 2.5 inches. So I'm going to place like so. This is the end point, which is the end point of the trouser. The end point, I'll extend it at the back by 2 inches, just as you can see me doing in the video. Sorry guys, not too clear because of the color of the fabric. So I'm just going to extend it like so by 2 inches. I'll mark this till I get to the crotch point of the back. So the crotch point for the back, I'm still going to use 2.5 inches. Then at the waist point for the back, I'll use 1 inches. I don't want to be extra, or to have excess to be too big. Then at the hip point for the back, I'll add 1 inches too. So I'll add all these 1 inches and connect it to the crotch point. So I'll mark this straight down. This is for the back, which you extend by 2 inches. Then for the upper part of the back, remember at the front I came down by 1 inches. So I'm going to pay it back and add it back to the back by 1 inches. So I'm going to mark it like so and add that to the back. Then at the waist point, I'll add 1 inches there because I don't want it to be too big. 1 inches is okay. Then the upper part of the back, I'll pay back that 1 inches I took from the front. I took out from the front. I slanted the front by 1 inches and I'll pay it back to the back by 1 inches. So I'm just going to mark it like so and then connect. So that's all. When you are done adding all these allowances to the back, that's all for the back. So I'm just going to connect it like so and then I'll cut this out. I'll cut this out, then take it to the weaving machine and weave all sides and also cut the pockets for the front. The front is going to have a pocket, so I'm going to do that. So to cut the pocket, this is me cutting the pocket. I went down by 13 inches. On fold, I use 6 inches. So I'll be cutting two sides of the pocket, 13 inches length and 6 inches width for the back. So I'm just going to cut it like so. So after cutting, I'll take it to the weaving machine also and weave all through before I'll join the crotch of the back together. So let's focus on the back because I told you the back is going to have elastic at the back, while the front won't have elastic. So I'm going to join my crotch of the 2 pieces of the back together, just as you can see me doing. This is the back, so I join the 2 pieces together like so and I've weaved it. So I'll join the crotch area of the back. You can see the back is 2 two pieces. So I'll join it together like so, because I want to add the waistband to it. So for the waistband, I cut the waistband with a length of 4 inches. So by the time I fold it, we are going to be having 1.8, I think, because the remaining half inches I'm going to use it as a joining allowance to the back. So you can see the length is 4 inches. Then I'll use half inches to stitch it. Then the remaining one is what I'll use to fold. So I'm going to place it like so, just as you can see me doing. I'll place it like so and then join it. First of all, I have to remove the excess. Remove the excess. The remaining one of that band is what I'll use for the front. So you see, I'm going to join it using half inches, just as you can see me doing in the video. This is I'm going to, then I'll fold it like so. So the remaining will be 1.8, almost 2 inches. So this is the elastic. For the elastic, I have to make sure that this elastic is, when I fix this elastic, is going to shrink the trouser like so, that will fit very well, in a way that when you draw it out, the client will be able to wear it, or it will pass through the hip point. And when it sits on the waist, we are going to get that exact waist figure, which is 32. The hip is 43. So I'm going to fix it in a way that it will sit properly at the client's waist. So this is it. I've cut it. I cut using 12 inches. So by the time I fix it, it will sit very well on the client's waist. And when she stretches it, it's going to pass through the hip. So that's what I did here. And before I join the back and the front together, I have to make sure that the measurements is accurate, the waist measurement is accurate, and the hip measurement is accurate for it to pass through the hip. So I'll use my pin to insert it through this casing I've created, which is the waistband. Remember, it was 4 inches length, then 4 inches width, then I use half inches to join it to the trouser. So now I'm inserting the elastic into it. I'll insert it in a way that is going to fit the round waist measurements of the client. I'll use my pin to hold these points. That's why I use 12 inches, so that it will snatch the waist. It must not be bigger than the waist, and it must not be smaller than the hip. If not, it won't fit the client. So make sure you take your measurements and be sure before you close the front and the back of the trouser together. So this is the back part. Before I fix the front, I have to make sure that the sizes, the measurements fit properly before I close it. So I'm just going to stretch it like so. Stretching it is to get the figure of the hip, or the perfect measurement of the hip. So I'll take it to the sewing machine and just hold it down at that point before I'll join it to the front of the trouser. So I'm just still taking the measurement again before I'll take it to the sewing machine and lock that elastic part with a stitch. So I'll divide my waist into 2, just as you can see me doing. The waist is 32, divided by 2. I'll cross check it first on the trouser when I stretch it. So you can see this is the waist exact point. The waist divided by 2, 32 divided by 2, you can see that's the figure. So we have 5 inches that is missing. So you see it's going to fit well. It's going to fit round the client when she wears it. So that's for the waist. Then when I stretch it, we'll have the figure of the hip. So you see, that's the whole logic about this, having elastic at the back and plain band at the front. So this is the front that we're talking about. So now I have to fix the pocket. So I have another detailed tutorial on how to fix the pockets in case this is not detailed enough. So from the point, I'll go inward by 2 inches. This is to create the slant shape for the pocket, because this is not a straight pocket, this is a slant pocket. So I'm going to mark it like so, 2 inches width. Then the opening for the pocket is going to be 7 inches. So I'm going to mark it like so. I'll use my pencil first before I'll use the chalk. I'm just going to mark it like so. This is the 7 inches opening for the pockets. This 7 inches point, I'm going to use a scissors to open that point or to give it like a notch. This 2 inches width also, you're supposed to give it like a notch so that you will know where and where. So you see, I'm going to fold it like so. After giving it a notch, then iron it. When I iron it, I'm going to get like a gator line. That line is going to guide me on where I'm going to fix the pocket and I'm going to sew it. I have to sew it behind that gator line. So I have a detailed tutorial on this. So I'll leave the link in the description box so you can go back and watch that video if this is not detailed enough. So you can see I've ironed it. So now I'll have like a gator line when I want to fix the pocket. So you see, so this is the pocket. I'm going to place wrong side of the trouser, one side of the trouser facing the right side of the pocket. Then I'll take it to the sewing machine and sew behind that gator line. So I have a more detailed tutorial of this. So I'm just going to pin it like so, then sew it at this point. You can see my hand pointing at the back of that line, not in front. Then after doing that, I'm going to fold it and then bring out that pocket like so. You can see how I folded it. If it's not too clear, watch the detailed tutorial on how to fix a slanted pocket. I'll leave that video in this description box so you can go back and watch it if this is not detailed enough. So you see, I'm going to hold that point down and hold the top down. So after fixing the pockets, now it's for us to fix the front and the back together. So you see, I'll fix the band for the front in this part of the video. So by the time I stretch it, I'll have my hip divided by 2, which will sit very well. My hip is 43 divided by 2. You can see the figure is going to pass the hip perfectly. So for the waist point, I won't stretch it. I'll just take the round waist measurements. Round waist measurement is 32. I'll make sure I have the 32 before I'll close the crotch of the front and the back together and the side of the front and the back together. Then I'll be sure that this method is going to help the trouser sit perfectly at the waist points and pass through perfectly at the hip points. So I got the exact accurate figure of the round waist measurements. So I'm just going to take it to the sewing machine and join the crotch area together. You can see this is the crotch of the back and the front. After taking my measurements, I got the perfect measurements. So that's why I'm closing it up. If it wasn't accurate, I'll adjust it. Then I'll close the side also. You can see after I'm done fixing the back and the front, and that is all. So you can see I'm going to take the sewing machine, and then the end point of this trouser also, I'll fold it by 1 inch. I'll be using hemming gum to hold this in place with iron, first of all, to give it like a clean, neat edge before I'll now use my sewing machine and sew on top. I'm just going to sew. So after sewing the sides together, this is how the result is going to come out. So that's just it, guys. So I'll leave the link in the description box so you can go and watch how to fix a pocket properly and how to make a baggy joggers with wide leg. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. I really appreciate those supporting me, liking my videos and subscribing to my channel. God bless you as you support my ministry, and may God also send someone that will support your ministry. Thank you so much, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye.